Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
So I'm here with Liz Stevenson. She works at Counseling and Psychological Services. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Kavita.
I'm excited to do this today. I've never made empanadas, so this is a first for me. So let's get after it. We have quite a few people listening in. If you all have a question, feel free to pop it in the chat for us. If you are cooking along with us, we're happy to bring you on camera. So let us know that in the chat as well.
That would be so much fun if we have people cooking alongside.
I know. I sent a couple emails out, but nobody wanted to do it. But we've got this.
Yeah.
So Liz, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we kind of get started?
Sure. Thank you, Kavita, and welcome everybody. I'm excited to be part of this awesome week. It's Diversity Week here at UCF, and part of what we are doing today is talking a little bit about some of the foods that we may eat within our family and our places of origin. And for me, I am Colombian. I was born here in the United States, but my parents and my grandparents and my entire family was born in Colombia, South America. And I was raised to eat lots of different foods, lots of yummy foods. And a big staple for us is the empanadas.
So Liz, empanadas across Latin America is very different. What's different about the Colombian empanadas?
So you're right. Empanadas are known food all over the world, not just in Colombia, but certainly all of South America, Central America, Europe, Spain, Portugal, other parts of the world. Colombian empanadas, for me, when I go to Colombia and eat them, they tend to be different than ones that I have here, maybe in Orlando or in the United States. They have rice inside. Sometimes they have potatoes. Sometimes it'll be meat, rice, and potatoes. Certainly the dough is made homemade. There's a very big staple item called ají, which is kind of like the sauce that goes along with it. For today, I decided not to go with a Colombian empanada. I decided to go more with what I've seen more here in Orlando that has a lot of different rich flavors from many different parts of the world. So for some, it may feel familiar. If you look at this empanada, it's going to be a beef empanada and a cheese empanada. And so that might come more from maybe Puerto Rico. It also might come more from Mexico. It might come more from other parts of South America. So I'm hoping that you will all enjoy this recipe with me.
Okay, thank you for that. So do you want to walk us through the ingredients that you have on your table laid out so nicely?
Yes, I had to prepare. So I'm not normally this prepared. I am a working mom, and when I come home from UCF and I come into my kitchen, I literally have to just throw things together to get food on the table. I do make dinner every night, and I think that's also a cultural part of who I am. That's how I was raised. We make dinner, we sit down for dinner, and it's very hard, but it's something that I do. This is very organized and not normally how I am, but because today is a big deal, I wanted to be as organized as possible. So we're going to start off with some of the key ingredients. And again, I made it pretty simple, so hopefully those of you who are cooking can kind of stay along. We're going to need some cooking oil. And so I picked canola, but it can be vegetable. It can be any type that you think would be healthy for you and good for you. And we need about 2 cups of that. We also need, if we're going to make a beef empanada, we need some beef. So this just came out of the fridge, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to put inside of that. We also are going to need some condiments. So I decided to go with the salt and pepper, and then another yummy ingredient called cumin. So that's what we added. And then there's other things you can add as well. My family tends to like a little bit of spice, not necessarily me. So I may add this Creole seasoning, which they love. I mean, they put this on pizza, they put this on all of their food. So I may add a little bit of this just for a little pizzazz. So if you have some things in your cabinet, definitely feel free to add. We also are going to use, which is a little bit different from how Colombians may make empanadas, but I'm going to use some tomato sauce today to add to my beef. Maybe in Puerto Rico, people might use sofrito. And so this is kind of a sofrito, and I think it just makes it really yummy. I also am going to use some garlic. We need some onion. I have some cilantro. I have some lime. And then I also have some cheeses, because why not make a little fun empanada, a little cheese empanada for a little bit later. And the most important piece that we're going to need is the discs. So again, sometimes people make these homemade. I have no idea how to do that, but I'm so happy that my local supermarket has them pre-made. So these are ready to go as well. I have a couple of other things. I do have an empanada maker. Kavita, I don't think you have this.
I definitely don't have that.
But I'll show you how to make the empanada without this. But
Okay.
When my mom travels back to Colombia, and me too, a couple of times a year, I always ask for a few things. And this is one of those. So this probably looks very familiar. A cacerona is another thing that I ask for. So I have tons of these to make my eggs and to do things. And of course, everybody knows the wooden spoons. I will usually ask my mom to bring me some of these when she travels to Colombia. So I'm all set. So Kavita, if you're all set.
I'm all set. The difference in Liz and I today is she is making beef empanadas and I am making chicken because I don't eat beef. So we're trying something.
Yes, awesome. And yes, you can do this vegetarian, you can do this chicken, you can do this so many different ways, which is the exciting part. I think what happens is we're so used to either going to an awesome restaurant or eating at our grandparents' house. And so we look at this amazing food that they make and we say, I have no idea how to make that, but we can do it. And we're going to do that today. So let's start off with two important things. We have to kind of fire up the grill. It's not really a grill, it's the stovetop. So what I'm going to do is, let's get that going, Kavita. So we're going to get two things going at the same time. Medium to medium low, if you can. If you have a flame, medium to medium low flame. Okay. Other than that, then for electric, just kind of like a medium. And so we're going to do two things. We're going to do our oil. So if you're following, it's about 2 cups. Okay. And you might need a little bit more depending on your pan. All right. So this is where I'm going to be putting the empanadas in a little bit. So I need this oil to get really warm and hot. Not too hot, because then it's going to start to burn. So I just want to make sure I'm on a low, what do you call it? Low level, low
heat?
Yeah, low heat. There we go. And similarly, the where the beef is going to go, or maybe your chicken is going to go, same thing, a low heat. Okay. All right. You ready?
Kavita, we have a question of where they can get a copy of the recipe or where the ingredients are listed.
So if you signed up on my UCF, I sent an email last night with all of the ingredients. If you didn't sign up, we can send this after. We can send the list of the ingredients after.
All right, now we're gonna go ahead and take our protein. So Kavita's going to be working on her chicken. I'm going to be working on my beef. I have about just a little bit more of half a pound of beef. And so what I'm doing right now is just mixing it around, just kind of cutting it up because it is going to have to go in my pan behind me. And what I want to add to this are these ingredients and also the onion and the garlic. So I do have a little tiny spoon. If you need a spoon to measure, again, growing up Colombian, we don't really do a lot of measuring when it comes to cooking. So, but I thought I'd take out the spoon just in case, because this is about a half a teaspoon, which when you think about condiments, when you think about pepper and salt, that's all you really need in terms of for this amount of beef. But certainly you can do a little bit more, or on the healthier side, you can do none. Same thing with the salt. I'm gonna go ahead and do about half a teaspoon of salt. Okay. Cumin tends to be a little bit stronger in taste. And so as Kavita's doing, she's kind of pinching and putting, and so I'm going to be doing the
Boy,
same.
I gotta do it.
All right, so I'm just going to mix that. You mixing along? Ooh, that smells so good. That cumin. Ooh. All right. So I'm going to transfer. Yep, go ahead.
My cumin is actually roasted. I know in the supermarket they sell it and it's not roasted. So we use a lot of cumin in our cooking as well, but ours is roasted. So I guess we'll see what the flavor is going to be like.
Yeah. So without adding anything else to this, I'm going to go ahead and start putting this in the pan for it to start warming up, because this is going to take the longest.
Okay.
I don't know if you can hear that, but it's starting to cook. Okay. And then what I also need to do is add some onion and garlic. So a couple of different ways to do this. If you have why am I forgetting the word? Like a food processor, you can go ahead and throw the garlic and the onion and anything else that you want in it. And it actually comes out looking pretty good. It's nicely diced. It's kind of small. Same thing with the onion, but you don't need a food processor to do this. And I'll show you how to cut it up just to make things a little bit easier. But this is what the onions would look like. And so again, using my spoon, I'm only gonna maybe, depending on taste, but for the amount of beef that I have in there, I only need about 3 of these small spoons to go in. Does that help, Kavita? Like 3 of these small.
Okay, that's like a what, half teaspoon?
This is a half, so maybe we're gonna do 1.5 to 2.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in.
And is that your garlic, Liz, or your onions?
That was the onion. And so the garlic, I'm gonna do a little bit of less. I'm gonna do about 2 of these teaspoons.
Okay.
This is for taste. But again, these are things that you can cut up at home. So I have my knife here. How I like to cut up onion is I usually will cut one side and then I'll just zigzag the other side. And again, I have no idea if this is just something that I was taught by my mom, and then I just cut down the middle and they come out to be really tiny square little pieces. I don't know if you can even see that. Kavita's going. How are things looking over there? All right, this is cooking up nice. Now to cook beef, you always want to make sure that it's not rare. You want to make sure that it's cooked well. Certainly we want to stay safe when we're cooking. And so it takes about 10 minutes for the beef to be thoroughly cooked. It's going to no longer be pink, no longer be red, and it's going to be nice and brown.
I think I might have chopped my onions a little too big.
What, Kavita?
I think I might have chopped my onions a little too big.
Okay, well, still yummy. I mean, this is all going into something that's going to be delicious when you eat it.
It smells amazing in my house at the moment.
Yes, I would agree. Have you had a chance to cut up your garlic yet?
I actually use the garlic plain.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, that is this fancy little thing.
Oh, I see. And so what do? You flatten it?
No, you just kind of grate it on there.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a grater.
Yeah, you can use the plain, you can use the food processor, or if you just have a little tiny garlic, you can go ahead very carefully, just kind of cut up. One little tiny clove can get you about 4 pieces, and you can do that with the rest of your garlic. So as you can see, I'm kind of already building a little arsenal here of my my sofrito for next time. Okay. So how is the chicken looking?
It looks good. I feel like I need to turn the heat up on it a little bit,
Okay.
but it's definitely cooking through.
And your chicken was raw going in, or was it pre-cooked?
It was completely raw going in. So I used ground chicken. I have a cameraman, but he is on a Zoom call at the moment. So as soon as he's done, he's going to jump in to show us what my chicken looks like.
Awesome. Okay. And my beef is cooking up nicely. Smells delicious. I see that very little bit of pink. What I'm going to do right now, because it's been a little bit over 6 to 7 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and add the tomato sauce. This is, again, something really yummy that's just going to make the beef taste even better. So I'm just going to go ahead and add, I'm not going to add the whole can, Kavita. I'm actually going to add half the can. Okay. See you on the other.
Can you see that? Can you hear that sizzle?
Can we hear? Ooh, that looks great. That looks really great. All right. Okay. I'm going to transfer these.
All right. And you said add half the can.
Half the can. Yep.
Okay.
Some room here. All right. So while that's cooking, I'm going to prep a little bit more, because very soon I'm going to start making the empanadas, and maybe I can just bring this closer and show everybody what that looks like. It smells so good. But I've chopped up the meat as best as I can. I'm gonna let that cook a little bit more.
All right, let's see.
All right.
That is mine. I'm still trying to mix in the tomato sauce.
And just so everybody knows, this is, again, one style. I can see with Kavita, you can add vegetables to that if you wanted to, more vegetables, greens, reds, yellows, oranges. Same thing with mine. It kind of all just depends on your flavor and kind of how you want it. I'm tending to make mine a little bit more plain today. I don't know if you can all see, but I also have, all right, this is starting to cook, so I'm gonna lower the flame. I also have a pot back there, and that's rice already made. Another staple item in my house growing up Colombian. There's always rice daily, and so that is kind of continued in my family. So I can even add a little bit of rice to my empanadas. I'll make all sorts of different ones, but that's just an added thing. You can always just go into your fridge, see what you have, and add it. So
I also have rice in my fridge if I wanted to add some to it.
a staple item in your household too.
Staple item in my house.
So I'm going to start prepping and getting these empanadas ready to go.
Okay.
I'm going to take a look at how my the heat is going. All right. So 10 discs come per package. You get these in the frozen section of Publix or supermarkets, Enanos. And
So I didn't actually find mine at Publix. When I went in, they didn't have any.
Where
Yeah.
did you find it?
I had to go to Walmart.
Oh, okay.
So they had it in the what they call global food section at Walmart, but Publix did not have it.
My Publix has it, and you're right. It probably all depends on different stores. But this is the actual disc, and it's pre-made. I don't have to add anything to it. I don't have to add any margarine, butter, egg, or anything to it that you might have to do if you're making it from scratch. This is ready to go, no flour. I also want to make sure that I have my tongs ready to go because the oil is going to be very hot. And when I put it in, it's only going to last about 30 seconds before it browns up, which means I have to kind of turn it over very quickly. Another quick 30 seconds, and then we're ready to go and transfer a new one in. So I'm going to be just making one or two at a time.
Okay, let me get my phones ready. So Liz, let me show you mine. Let me know if this is kind of what it looks like.
Ooh, looks good.
That's my chicken.
Nice. Excellent.
And I kind of want to add some rice to it. Do I add, so if I wanted to add rice, am I adding rice to the pot with the chicken, or will I add the rice when we roll it?
I usually add it when we roll it.
Okay.
But certainly you can do it that way too. So I'll add it differently. I'll add the different ingredients separately.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do right now is transfer the beef into another bowl. The beef is ready. It's kind of burning at the bottom. I'm going to turn off the oven. I'm going to transfer. Oh, that smells so good. All right. I'm also going to transfer this oil this side so you can also.
Yeah, I'm going to transfer mine as well.
Here's what it looks like. Ready to go. And in this case, Kavita, you're only going to need like a tablespoon, a couple of tablespoons to fill it. You don't want to overfill it because it'll kind of fall apart on you. So same thing, if you're going to be adding rice or vegetables, you don't want to overfill it. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to cheat a little bit. I want it to look really pretty. I am going to use my little contraption.
Of course you are.
And what I do is I just kind of stick it in the empanada maker. And I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I can see the garlic in here. I can see the onion. That looks really good. Smells good. And if you can see, Kavita, that I kind of filled it a little bit. I did 2 tablespoons.
So am I putting it smack dab in the middle?
You're putting it smack dab in the middle.
Okay.
Oh, look how good that looks. And then I'm going to go ahead and close it up and squeeze it. And with this, there's actually going to be extra. So I can just take this extra away. And then I'm going to open it carefully. And it's good to go. Here's my first one.
All right. For us who don't have that fancy contraption you have there.
One too. Okay. Let's see what you're doing.
So can you see my cameraman with his camera skills?
I see.
So I filled it and I kind of close it in half.
That's right.
So we make something similar with potatoes. The outside is definitely different. When we close it, we use a fork.
Yes, same thing. When we close it, we use our fingers first. So if you see me doing this, just to kind of create a little bit. And then kind of what you're doing, I take a fork. I think at this point, it's a little bit more like design. So for those of you who've got some design in you, some artistic flair, this might be the time to go ahead and go for it. It's not really my forte, but I'm motivated by you, Kavita. All right. And yes, the fork, we're going to squeeze down on the edges and kind of create.
Hey, Liz. Kavita froze on both of her cameras. I'm hoping that she didn't lose electricity.
Oh, Kavita froze. Hopefully she comes back soon. All right, she may be coming back soon. Okay, thank you, Dr. Butler.
No worries.
I'm here cooking along, not even noticing. All right, so I have kind of a homemade one, and I have one made with my little handy dandy empanada maker. Hi, Kavita, you're back. Okay. All right, I'm gonna move into the oil part. The oil is ready to go. And again, this is gonna just take 30 seconds, so I'm gonna pay a lot of attention while I'm doing this. And you can either use your tongs to put it in, or you certainly, if you are careful enough, you can use your hands. Once it goes in, you will not be able to use your hands to turn it around. All right. And so I am gonna pay close attention to the time. About 30 seconds each side before I flip it over. I think Kavita is finding her way back. Are there any questions so far, Letitia?
No, it looks like it was just about the recipe.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over. It's yummy.
Is your first one in the pot?
Yes. Hi,
All right.
welcome back. Wow.
All right, I'm gonna pop the first one in.
Okay, my first two are just about done, Kavita. I'm gonna pull them out and I'm gonna show you the end result.
So I popped my first one in, but I think my oil wasn't hot enough.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah, mine is super hot, so you can see how brown they are. Yummy.
oh wow.
All right, so I'm gonna leave those there for now. And I'm gonna make a few more. I'm gonna go back to using my empanada maker.
I'm gonna go to my fork. A spoon, since I don't have an empanada maker.
And so what I'm gonna make now is the cheese one. So again, this is like yummy for dessert, or this could be for vegetarians, for those who don't like meat. I have a couple of different ways that I'm gonna use the cheese today. One is queso blanco, is a very popular cheese that's typically used in a lot of Latino dishes, especially in Mexico, Puerto Rico. So I decided to get this queso blanco, which is my favorite. And you can use it two different ways. I went ahead and kind of grated it, which is just kind of an easy way to put in here. Or you can just slice it, which is another way that it will work. Another yummy cheese that I found is already shredded cheese. And so this is kind of a yellow and white cheese. And so we can pick one of these packages up at the supermarket and use it as well. So in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and use the shredded queso blanco. And similarly to what I said earlier, about 2 tablespoons. Okay, I'll go ahead and close this. That's beautiful, Kavita. Can you hear us? Wow. All right. While she's getting her connection, look at that. That is amazing. Okay. And then here is my next empanada for cheese. And I'm going to go ahead and put this in here. Pay attention. Hold on to that for about 30 seconds. You can't get really too distracted because then it'll burn, and that tends to happen. So I'm just going to prep this one and get it ready with the shredded cheese. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over using the tongue. And while that, I'm going to do this one without cheating, Kavita. I'm just going to use my fork and my hands, and I'm going to use the shredded cheese. You there, Kavita?
I am.
All
I don't
right.
know why I keep dropping out.
Your empanada looks beautiful. How do you feel
Thank
about
you.
making your first empanada?
Let's hope it tastes as good as it looks.
It looks beautiful.
Thanks. It got a
Sometimes-
really nice color on it, so.
See, I started talking and I almost burnt my empanada. So. All right, here comes the cheese one. I'm so excited. This is the cheese one right here. And in a few minutes, we're gonna go ahead and cut it open so you can see what it looks like. But in the meantime, I'm just gonna make my own homemade one, not using my little contraption. You hear that, Kavita? You inspired me. All right, what are you up to?
I'm just gonna make my my chicken ones. I think I'm just gonna finish making the chicken ones. Mostly because I'm not a huge cheese fan, and neither is Sanjay, and we are the only people that will be eating it, it seems to be.
Here
So
comes another one. And so, I mean, it's amazing. We've been on here less than 40 minutes, and I've already made almost 4 empanadas. And we've been talking the whole time. We've been having fun. There's still, I could probably make 4 or 5 more. So this is something that can be done pretty simply. So I hope that,
I have a quick question. Can we make, I don't know, a sweet one, like
yeah,
with maybe some guava in there?
that's what I was just gonna say. Somebody today, I was in a meeting earlier, and one of my coworkers said to me that sometimes she'll make it with Nutella inside. How yummy would that be? Yeah, I think we can go all out when it comes to making empanadas. We can move away from our mothers and grandmothers' traditional empanadas and be really creative.
You got 2 questions
I
in the
think
chat.
I might have some guava somewhere.
You got 2 questions in the chat. One is what temperature on the stove for frying, and the other is, have you tried to air fry your empanadas?
Great questions. Yes. Kavita said that earlier to me. Yes. The great thing about these, and certainly no matter how you make it, whether you make it with homemade dough or you use these discs, you can put it in the oven and bake it at 350 degrees. Before it goes into the oven, it's suggested that you either will cover it with egg white or some butter, and then it'll give you a little bit of a crispy taste. You can probably even spray it with some Pam. And similarly with the air fryer, you can stick it into the air fryer, and I believe it's at 360 degrees for 10 minutes, and out will come your very healthy empanada, because it won't be fried, which we know that sometimes fried foods may not be the healthiest choice. And even, I was thinking about this, even in the small little convection ovens that most of us might have in our dorm, or we might have in small spaces, you can even cook it in that at 350 degrees, more closer 15 to 20 minutes, but it'll cook in there as well.
So is there a difference if you fry or bake them?
Yes, there will be a taste difference, but not necessarily a difference on the inside, because you will still have like your meat or the cheese or the different ingredients inside, but definitely the outside, the shell will taste a little bit different. What we do in Colombia is we tend to garnish, and I think that we do that in most countries, which is why we have the lime and why we have the cilantro as well. So, Kavita, do you think I can kind of show what it looks like inside?
Yeah, go for it. I'm actually going to pop one in the air fryer.
Oh, yeah?
See what happens.
Okay.
One other question is, how long did you leave the disc out prior to starting?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question, actually.
I texted Kavita this morning and said, because the discs come frozen, and so they do need to be defrosted in order to be used. And so I texted Kavita this morning to remind her about that, because that is something that I have certainly forgotten in the past too. I pull it out of the freezer and I'm like, oh, I can't make these. It takes about, what would you say, a good hour, Kavita?
Yeah, more than that. because I put mine outside, and you know it's pretty humid and hot outside, because I had it on the counter inside the kitchen at first, and it was just solid.
Yeah.
So then I put it outside maybe an hour and a half before we started. So I'd say if you're doing it inside, you need to give it at least 2 hours.
And that's at room temperature. So maybe the best way to start when you're going to do it is from the freezer to the refrigerator the night before. And then the day of that you're making the empanadas, if you're making them for kind of early lunch, maybe in the morning, take it out for a couple of hours. Or if you're going to do it at nighttime, leave it in the fridge till about 1 hour before. Once it starts getting room temperature, you'll start to see that the dough does get a little bit harder to manage. It gets a little bit thinner. So there is probably a perfection. I certainly haven't gotten into it yet. But that's a great question. And that's what I remind
you. Says you're doing great cooking show for you. Liz, this is coming from JR. I'm not sure who this person is. You'll know. Liz, I'm so glad you are using the handy dandy empanada maker. You reminded me of the ones my poppy sent me. I will be making empanadas for dinner.
Oh, that's so sweet, JR. Yes. These come in handy. I've had mine for almost 30 years. It comes with me everywhere. No matter where I move, it's a part of my kitchen. Yes.
I want one of those now, Liz.
Okay. I went to Colombia back in February of 2020, my last trip out of the country, and not sure if it's going to be on the lookout for 2021, but definitely when we go back, I will think of you, Kavita, and bring you back one, because look at you, you're like the master chef in empanadas.
So that was coming from Judy Reststeiner.
Hey, Judy.
So I just popped one in the air fryer. I put it at 350 and I put it for 10 minutes. I'm hoping that it'll work.
Sure. I think so.
I did rub a tiny bit of oil on it. That's just what I do whenever I put anything in the air fryer. I rubbed a tiny bit of oil on it.
Yeah. Okay, what I'm doing right now is I'm cutting the empanadas, even though this is not what we typically do. We serve them whole. And so, but what I wanted to show everyone was kind of what it looks like inside and how you can garnish. You can use any type of salsa. You can use any type of lime. You can use any type of maybe seasoning on top of it if you want. It's totally up to kind of like your palate. For the meat one, as you can see, you'll just see little pieces of meat and you'll see a little bit of garlic. And then sometimes what we do is we can use some of the cilantro to put in there for taste. And you can also take some lime and you can just squeeze the lime into it and that'll be ready to eat as well. It's yummy. And even for kind of decoration, when I put out the empanadas, I usually will just kind of cut up the limes and kind of leave them out on the plate as well. The cheese does look a little bit different. As you can see the cheese, can you see that, Kavita?
A little bit.
Let's see if I can get closer.
Yeah.
See what that looks like? That's so good. And like you said, if you put like a little bit of like sweet, did you say it was guava?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be delicious. So I put that back. We usually don't use lime when we make the cheese ones, but again, it's based on taste.
You have some more questions?
Tester, just tasted it.
One question is, where can I buy an empanada maker? Another person answered it saying that it could be at a local Hispanic food market. And then the other question is, can you also send a recipe for the salsa?
Yes, I will. The salsa, you know, the way they make ají in Colombia is this is the way my grandmother made it. She would use cilantro. She would put olive oil inside of it. She would put vinegar, white vinegar, salt, pepper. And then what makes it ají is the jalapeno pepper, the spice. And so she would put that and then just mix it all in a food processor. And that's kind of how that's how we would eat it. But certainly I have seen people add just your typical hot sauce, red hot sauce. I have seen individuals use salsa, like for salsa and chips inside of it. That makes it really yummy. And certainly just the lime itself. And yes, these can be purchased typically in Latin supermarkets. Serranos is one that comes to mind, where they may have kind of traditional tools that we may use when we're cooking.
I'm gonna check on my my air fryer one and let you. I'll pull it out and see what it looks like.
Yeah.
So Liz and Kavita, Leanne Roberts writes that she would love to have tasted some of what you have. So is there going to be like a drive-through window that they can come through?
For you, Leanne, absolutely.
Right? That's the part that I feel so bad. I wish I was making this at CAPS and then I would have to share with everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is my role, but I'm sorry if I'm stepping on somebody else's toes, but I'll stop and bow out if they want to take over. But the question is, how do you suggest we pass this tradition down to our children? I'm
sorry, can you repeat that, Dr. B?
How do you suggest we pass this tradition down to our children?
I already have. I mean, I shared a little bit about my background. My parents are Colombian, from Colombia. I was born in New York. And so first generation American. My parents kind of, in our household, we spoke Spanish and we ate food that was typical and traditional for our culture. And so then I went ahead and kind of started my own family, and we look a little bit different than when I grew up. My husband is not Latino, he is Irish American, but certainly I thought it was important to kind of continue the traditions. And so my children grew up knowing what an empanada was. Today they're both in college and they know how to make empanadas. I think that's important. I think also when we go out to eat and we order kind of different foods and we try new things is a great way to kind of keep it down the line, keep the tradition going. So that's been one of the ways that I've done it. How about for you, Kavita?
So for me, quite a few people know this, but my parents live with me, and everything we cook and everything we consume is ethnic food. It's from everywhere. Trinidad has a fusion of Indians, Africans, we have just people from all over. Everything is a little different in the way that things taste. We use a lot of seasoning in our food, a lot of spice, Liz. Our food is very spicy. And Sanjay, I've managed to pass that on to him. You know, all of what we eat is spicy foods. He does not complain, oh, it's too spicy. He eats 90% of what we cook. You know, he's a kid and he's picky. But we do try to just teach him what we're doing. He knows how to do certain things. Like right now he's pointing to the stove, like, you need to get to that.
He's paying attention. I think sometimes cooking tools are great. I think that when I moved out of my parents' house many, many years ago, I kind of stole some things that were staple items that I knew that they could replace. Kind of why the wooden spoon is so important. Kind of we were raised and taught that that's a great way to cook. Same thing with kind of this little maker. I knew that I wanted to make empanadas, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to figure out how to do it by hand. And so I think also just having different just accessories and tools around the house, and kind of like Kavita said, spices and things to try out is a great way to kind of keep the tradition going.
Ease them into it for the little ones. Like my niece can't eat spicy, but Sanjay can. Here is what my chicken one looks like.
Wow, Kavita, that looks amazing.
My taste tester said it tastes really good, so he's on his second one.
That definitely says a lot. How's the one in the air fryer looking?
He actually just turned the air fryer off for me, so I'm gonna grab that. And
okay, so it looks like it's been cooked.
So Karen Hoffman says that she can almost smell it through her computer.
So true. Yes.
So So the air fryer one, I think, needs a little bit more color on it. It's still very, very, very light.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let it go for a little bit longer. I have 3 more discs and I think enough chicken to make 3 more.
Wow. And, you know, part of the prep is really the most important part, which again, we had to cook the chicken thoroughly, cook the beef thoroughly, but again, on medium flame or medium heat with all the different condiments inside. It cooks pretty quickly. And again, you just give it a good 8 to 10 minutes, make sure it's not pink, make sure that it's cooked thoroughly, chicken a little bit longer. It definitely is part of the process that you have to make sure that whatever's going in is cooked thoroughly.
So I also figured out that I need to make sure I close it properly.
Yes.
Because one of them split open a little bit in one of the corners. And when it started frying, I can hear like the stuff kind of oozing out of it into the fryer.
Yes. I think what's a normal piece about cooking is there's going to be a lot of mishaps and mistakes that happen. And a lot of that has to do with just the trials and tribulations of cooking, which I think is great. I've been cooking since I was 10 years old. That was my first thing I had to do in my household, learn how to cook the rice, and then from there, just keep going. And so a lot of trial and error, paying attention, using timers, even though that's not how I grew up, but it's important to know that maybe something going into the fryer is only gonna last a few seconds and certainly not minutes. And so I think that that is a great example of sometimes it not coming out perfect on the first try, but then realizing what you need to do for the second time, which I think is great when it comes to cooking.
All right, let me grab the one of the air fryer. That should be good now. Oh.
I love that you tried the air fryer. I could have done the stove too. In the stove, it's going to take a little bit longer.
Easy access.
Yep. Healthier.
All right, so it definitely doesn't look as pretty, but let me see.
Yes, that's what it looks like. That looks beautiful.
So it should hopefully taste really good because it has everything in there, just not the amount of oil.
I think Kavita should eat that right now.
I will eat that, but it's really hot.
That looks awesome.
Dr. Butler, you're just jealous you're not here trying it too. But Leanne, if you're listening, send me a text message and I'll put some by the front door for you.
Aw. I am so impressed watching Kavita go.
Thanks, Liz.
Yes, yes. And do you want to do a shout out for what you're doing next later this week?
Yes, so tomorrow we are making pho. I have a friend, actually, I've known her since Sanjay was in pre-K. Her daughter and Sanjay went to pre-K together. So I've known her for a really long time. She is half Vietnamese and she will be making pho with me. If we get enough people to make along with us, I will bow out because I'm going to be very honest with you. It includes a whole chicken, and Kavita doesn't do whole chicken. I just can't do it. She did tell me that I can use chicken breast, but like the split breast with the bone in it. So I may give that a shot. We'll see. But tomorrow we're making pho, and then on Thursday I am making curry chicken from Trinidad. So there's a big difference. Join me on Thursday, and this is all going to be from noon to 1, just like Liz and I met today. Join me on Thursday to find out the difference between curry chicken that you might get at, let's say, if you've been to Tamarind or Indian Spice Grill versus Trinidadian curry chicken.
That sounds delicious. I will be there cooking along.
Are you cooking along with me, Liz?
Wait, did I say that?
You did.
Watching
I am
along.
happy to drop off some curry powder for you so you don't have to go buy it.
Oh, that sounds, it's truly, I mean, I can see watching and then just like salivating at what we are making, and I know that will happen to me on Thursday, so I might just have to cook along. But I'll have
You
to
will have to cook along, I think.
Any last questions for us? This has been a great hour. I love all the questions, the comments. There's been so much support. This is definitely what UCF is all about. It's a great time to hang together during this lunch hour. We hopefully gave you some great ideas and recipes to try at home later on this week.
We're really sorry you can't try it. I truly am, because right now Sanjay and I are the only two people in this house, my son and I, and we're gonna have to consume them all.
Yes.
I'm sure your son's gonna be happy he has a snack, Liz.
Oh yeah. He's hiding out in his room while he's in class, but he will be out soon enough, because you can smell this house. It smells delicious.
All right, my last one is going in, and then I'm going to try that air fried one, because it should be cool enough now.
I think it's great, Kavita. I think I'm so impressed watching you.
Thanks, Liz. All right, I'm cutting it. It definitely cuts different, but I mean, it's still the same. You can see all of the stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's very hot. But
I'm gonna go along with you and try one of mine too. So as we say, salud.
Okay, even though it's air fried, it's amazing.
Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard air fry is really yummy and really healthy for you.
We use ours for everything.
Would you use lime with it, or any sauce would you put on it, Kavita?
I'd put salsa on there, but I'm not a lime fan. But I'd definitely dip this in some salsa.
Like a regular, like a red salsa, or
yeah. And I definitely have. See, my taste tester just tried this one too, just because. And I put a little bit more spice in mine. So the Creole seasoning that you used, I used a little bit more in mine because, you know, we like it spicy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I definitely recommend the air fryer. If you're watching your fat intake, the air fryer is definitely the way to go.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with the air fryer.
Me too. I mean, yeah. Do you have one?
I do.
I love it. It is money well spent. That's my pitch for an air fryer. If you don't have one, invest in one. It is amazing.
It's a good investment. Healthy living.
So Liz, do you have any parting words for us before we kind of wrap it up?
Kavita, I'm super impressed. I mean, talk about getting it. You're just like made beautiful empanadas. You even went and did something completely different, which is awesome. So everybody had a chance to see that. So thank you. I certainly was a little bit nervous coming on and showing the world how I cook, but this is kind of how it is for me. I love it. I enjoy it. I cook lots of different things. But having a chance to show everyone how I make my empanadas certainly has been such a rewarding experience. So thank you, Kavita, for that opportunity. And I hope that we get to hear from others and how it went for them and how they are making their own empanadas. We want recipes. We want to know what you're doing.
Thank you for doing this with me. It was definitely fun. I'm gonna have to move upstairs for the rest of the afternoon so I don't continue eating it.
Yes.
Save some for the rest of the people in this family. It is amazing. I'm really glad we did this. Thank you. I will, if you want to reach out to me for the ingredients list, feel free. I will email it to you. And tomorrow, remember to join me for pho at 12 o'clock. We're making the stock from scratch, so that should be fun. And then back here again on Thursday. Join us for all of our other activities. This week, on Wednesday morning, we have another keynote, Dr. Ivory Tolson. I am very excited about him because he's also LSU graduate like myself. So I just wanted to put that out there. And then on Wednesday afternoon, Dr. Butler is starting something called Matters of Diversity with Dr. B. It is going to be so much fun. His first guest is going to be President Cartwright. So join us Wednesday afternoon for that. This afternoon, we still have a few more events on the calendar. The PD is doing something at 2 o'clock today, so be sure to jump on. If you have any questions about today, feel free to email me. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, everyone.
There's a couple things in the chat.
What was it?
Someone says, I have enjoyed the cooking class. You both are great cooks. Thank you for sharing your recipes. Another person says, where can they sign up for these? So you need to reach out to Zachary. He wants to know where to sign up for the other two. Recommended cooking show sponsored by ODI and Kavita. This was fabulous. Thanks, Liz and Kavita. That's coming from Jocelyn. Have you created new meal traditions of your own? That's something that someone wants to know, so maybe you can answer that tomorrow. Thanks, Liz and Kavita. Love the presentations. That's from Silpa. This was a great idea coming from, I believe it was Joan. How much does it cost estimated to make this? Is one of the questions. Thanks for this, loving it. Please send this Trini the recipe and ingredients. This is coming from Celeste. She didn't receive it. Somebody said they don't have an air fryer. Celeste says it's a great job. Susan Layden, amazing job. Florence Septimus, preparing some of my ingredients for dinner tonight. Thank you. And yeah, you guys did a phenomenal job.
Aww.
Thank you. Thank you. You can register for this on my UCF. If you have any issues registering, please reach out to us and we're happy to register you for it. Thank you.
5 people watched us yesterday on YouTube for our kickoff. So we're excited. This is going to be a great week.
Thank you all. Bye. Bye, Liz. Thanks, Dr. B.
No worries. I just thought you should hear some of this amazing stuff that people were saying about you.
Thank you.